Money matters are a big deal at the Roundhouse this year, both the immediate issue of the budget and the pending problem of public pensions. We've discussed that here at this table a bunch. But this week, lawmakers heard from stakeholders about proposed fixes. Now, Dee Dee, let me ask you this. Is there any sense among those folks or lawmakers that it's finally time, if I can put it this way, to swallow a bitter pill of a fix here? Are we ready to actually get real about the idea?
Yes, I think we're going to come out of this session with some fixes to both the ERA and the PERA funds.
What's your sense of why that is? Why are folks ready to move?
Well, I think the unions are on board. The boards themselves, the PERA board and the ERA board, is it called the ERB board? The ERB board. They both have come forward with common sense solutions, I think.
Right.
And now the NFT and the NEA is on board with the educational fix, and AFSCME and CWA are supporting the PERA fix. And it's an across-the-board kind of thing. It's not going to revolutionize and change the whole system, but it will extend the life of the funds.
Right.
And everybody will give a little.
Just to tease you a little bit, that was a nice glossary of acronyms.
I know.
That was beautiful.
No idea. Clearly, we got all the unions on board, so we're happy. All the unions said okay.
We don't have all the unions on board, but that's the bulk of them, and that's further than the public, the firefighters and the police.
I think it's a recognition that the current system is simply unsustainable.
Recognition by who?
By the legislature. Okay. And again, this is just like what we were talking about with the spaceport. This isn't something that just came up this year. No. This has been going on for 2, 3, and 4 years.
It's going on for 15 years and we've been being told this is unsustainable.
And it is unsustainable. And the problem is when you're talking about sustainability, it's fine for 15 years, but you know what? When you've got people who are coming into being teachers and state employees and police officers and they're 22, 23 years old, well, they're not thinking about the retirement, but we need to make sure that we plan for their retirement in 40, 50 years down the line.
It's not just the 22-year-olds. It's a big problem is we got a lot of 18, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds that they can retire at 40. Right. And, you know, then what do they do? And this is part of the problem, and I'm going to get attacked for it, I know. And I'm not saying here, but I'm sure Matt will get some of the emails. The problem is they go to work at 19, they retire at 39, they sit out 6 months, they go back to work again. The simple concept about retirement is just like Social Security. I pay in. When it's time for me to take out, Al's paying in, and I'm getting the benefit of that. When Al retires, so we don't have that now. Dan has a job. He pays in. He retires. He gets his money. He goes back to work. There's nobody paying in while Dan's doing that. And we have a very, very large number of double dippers in New Mexico, and I don't think anybody's wanted to address any of these problems because it was always a $5 million problem, a $2 million problem, an $8 million problem. When it finally hit us at $200+ million, $500 million, and the Fed started coming around saying, you guys may be out of compliance, and there may be some issues. Now everybody's saying, how do we fix this? I'm glad, you know, jokingly talking about the unions, I'm glad that we're getting everybody to the table because this is one of those things that if we don't fix it, there's going to be tens of thousands of people that are financially ruined in this state, and we can't handle that.
That's a fact. Sophie, what's interesting about this, Dan mentioned a couple of things here. There's some interesting negotiation points in here. For the unions and everybody else. And one of them is the minimum retirement age. Fascinates me. It almost sounds like we're having a European discussion here, like it's Greece or something, but it's a real part of the deal here.
It certainly is. And I think that, you know, I think that we always want to be cognizant of the fact that there are some people in state government who are working the kind of jobs where you get to 40 and you look and feel like you're 60.
Right.
But that's not everybody.
Those are legislators.
But that's not, sunscreen is all I'm saying. But that was a joke. But I guess that was obvious. But that's not everybody.
Right.
That's not everybody. And so my hope is that in the long term we find solutions that address those different levels. I mean, if you start at 19 as a groundskeeper and you're working out in the sun and it's backbreaking, I mean, at some point you may qualify for disability, but making sure that we are taking care of New Mexico's workers is such a big part of that.
Let me ask you this, I'm going to stay with you. The other interesting negotiation point here that I'm fascinated by is the amount of contribution. And, you know, this has been a real problem for a lot of legislators to kind of get their arms around because folks, the unions especially, did not want an increase in contributions.
Wow, that's not surprising.
Right?
Right?
It's an awfully tough sell. So I say again, are we just at that point where it's so bad that everybody can see it so clearly.
And I think
People are
we've
saying
been
they're about to be
talking.
out of retirement money if they don't fix
Yeah,
this.
and I think we've been talking about it long enough now that the conversation truly has shifted.
Right.
That people's perception of it has shifted, and that unfortunately that takes time for people to move off of their closely held beliefs about
And so
things.
Sophie raises a good point. You know, if you're the groundskeeper guy, I agree. But we've had all these exceptions. When I was in the legislature, we talked about policemen.
Yeah.
We said, okay, you know, it's tough to go get a
dangerous
policeman to go
job.
be. It's tough to get someone to go be a cop in Hagerman,
Sure.
Vaughan, New Mexico.
Sure.
So what we do is we say, after a guy retires as a state police officer, let him go take that job. Well, the problem is you can't craft it so narrowly that we're still not getting the cops, as you've seen from Larry Barker and Vaughan.
Right.
We're getting an abundance of police officers in Albuquerque and Bernalillo County and Las Cruces, and the bigger cities where people want to go live. And so you're not hiring young guys to fill, and young girls, guys in the generic term, people, to fill those terms. You're bringing in these folks that retire from state police and other things. And so there's got to be some, you know, the problem is that no matter how the law is passed and all the stuff we've talked about, you're still hoping for some common sense application. And it just seems that whenever we pass a law hoping for common sense application, it goes out the window.
Right, Senator Frumlet, let
But
me
then
ask
you
you
can
this about.
fix it. But then you
Go ahead.
can come back and fix it. That's the thing about the legislative process.
What do you? We're under a minute here, but Dan's point, he would not be alone in this, so you're not going to get attacked in this, I don't think. But his idea about double dipping, have we sufficiently gotten our arms around that? I mean, it just
Well, we've
seems.
been addressing it for the past 5 years.
That's
And
right.
every
Yes.
at the Public Affairs Committee, anywhere where I was the chair, we had this for at least 4 or 5 years, and we are improving for sure.
What's the big hang up
On the
in
teacher
20
side, we've
seconds?
cut a deal with Texas, it seems like, because our guys retire here, go teach in Texas for a year, the Texas people come over here for a year, and there's just this constant
right.
switch of coaches and teachers from one state to the
Who is
other.
opposed to removing double dipping out there? What's
Once
the deal?
again, it was the police and fire, the
and also
public
smaller
safety.
smaller communities
Right.
that really,
Smaller
I mean,
communities.
It is a problem.
You poo-poo
Yeah.
it, but I mean, like trying to find a city manager, trying to
Right.
find
That's right.
qualified staff
That's
at
right.
all levels can be really challenging.
Interesting. Let me stop you there because we're going on the clock with a lone minute to spend on some other notable headlines from the week. Let's start. It seems lawmakers really want to close the book on driver's licenses this session. There's talk of a compromise, if you can believe it, in the works between the House and Senate. Now, Al, can the governor agree to a compromise? And this is not a wise guy question. Can she actually do this without losing face, considering her position, not since she's been governor, but before she became governor? Can she actually come up with a compromise here?
I think she can.
Okay.
I mean, the legislature needs to give her a win, give her an opportunity to say that she's done something. But yes, and frankly, it's good for the legislature and all the citizens of New Mexico to put this issue behind us.
Is it possible, Sophie, same question, without losing face here, can she back up from her position?
Oh, I mean, I certainly think so. I think especially to the extent that she's able to present this as a win. You know, I achieved X, and it seems to me that the bill that's out there right now gives her some wins. You know, we're taking away the idea that this is a driver's license that can be used, for instance, in other states.
Sure.
It becomes a form of ID that's really only valuable in the state. I think that could match what the governor.
Interesting. You agree with
Big
that,
question here is, does she want to stake out her territory as a pragmatic Republican governor, a centrist who's willing to expand Medicaid, or is she a hardliner willing to exploit these wedge issues?
Interesting.
I think clearly it's a win for the governor because I don't think the legislature was going to get there. These types of amendments were offered when we first passed the bill. These types of changes have been offered throughout the years. I think since the governor took such a hard stance, she's dragged the legislature screaming to get to here, and I think we'll get something good now.
There you go. New Mexico Supreme Court Justice Petra Mayes told lawmakers the state desperately needs 9 new judges to make sure the halls of justice don't get
God.
clogged. Didi, she also, the question is, we actually need a number way bigger than that.
23.
23.
I
We're
think what
going
they
for
said.
9. Is that a reasonable ask at this point?
It is a reasonable ask. I think the judiciary has taken, really had a lot of sacrifices in the past 4 years during this whole recession, more so than other branches of government. But, you know, the governor is not real happy with the judiciary right now, and so she has vetoed and not been a friend.
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, look, I've railed for years on here about, especially our Supreme Court. I mean, I'm not sure. You know, we're talking about, I guess if we keep adding all the new laws that we're talking about all the time, you clearly are going to need more judges, but I'm not sure that we need 23 new
Sure,
judges.
down to 15 seconds. What do you think, Al? We need more?
Judiciary is a co-equal branch of government, and for democracy to operate, you need 3 strong vibrant branches of government. You've got to fund it, and they've been taking a hit for way too long.
Sophie, a little bit of time for
The
you?
bench has been slammed in the down economy, bankruptcies, foreclosures, just to name a few things. They are way overextended. There's a big backlog. We need to take care of this. This is getting business done.
Thank you, Al, from that perspective from the judiciary.
Yeah.
You would know these things. The 2 constitutional amendments regarding same-sex marriage have been proposed. One allows it, the other prohibits it. Sophie, do you see a path to the ballot? That's my question for either one of these. That would be interesting.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen both ideas over the years. I think actually we're going to reach a point relatively quickly where on the national level, the Supreme Court's going to make some decisions about these issues. It may be, and my hope is that it will be moot at some point.
Sure.
But right now it's not.
Sure.
I'd sure like to see that.
Hence the rush for those
pro-marriage
who
bill
are
passed,
opposed
yeah.
to get some bills passed in local legislatures before this eventuality possibly happens. It's interesting.
Well, it's interesting because, you know, the efforts of the Democrats has been to block this from going on the ballot. And now there's the converse as well. So, and the reason being is the governor then has no power to veto.
Right.
This goes directly to the people. And remember, each side of the aisle is thinking, oh, if that's on the ballot, that's going to help my cause. And, you know, so I think the odds are pretty stiff for it getting on the,
both sides.
for to both sides.
Ballot. Be careful what you wish for.
There you go. I'm going to hold you there, Dan. You get first up on this one. News late this week that an attempted filibuster rule change by Senator Tom Udall, and he was here a few weeks ago talking about this right here in the studio. It dissolved into a watered-down compromise by Senate leaders. Dan, did Harry Reid do the right thing by abandoning Mr. Udall's demand for a talking filibuster, which is an interesting way to slice this?
You know, it looks to me like, you know, now the filibuster is kind of exists without actually doing anything. You know, you kind of get to go say, I'm going to do it. And, you know, people get to say, oh, they're going to do it. Then we're not going to do it. You know, and so now they're saying, okay, we're going to make you really do it. You know, the filibuster.
You would like
the filibuster is. I'm glad they make you do it. The filibuster, I think, is a good rule to help to protect the minority. But I do think at some point we got to start realizing that elections have consequences, and when the president wins, there's a rule that says, here's the kind of person you can appoint. If I don't agree with that person politically, it's not my job to keep him from getting his team because I'm going to use that team against him in the election.
Al, what do you think on the filibuster?
I think it's fine. I mean, I think that we lose track of the historical significance of the filibuster has been used in very positive ways to prevent anti-discrimination legislation. It is a very strong tool in the civil rights movement to prevent a Congress that was, I think, very anti-civil rights. So I appreciate what Senator Udall is saying, but I think it's not going to make much difference.
There you go. So we're going to hold you on that one. The state announced graduation rates for the last academic year, 70% statewide. Sophie, 70% is what we're hearing of the number of kids that are graduating statewide, which is a wild improvement over just the year before.
Yes.
So are we making progress here? Or are we cooking the books? Or
Okay,
what's
look at
going
my
on here?
face.
Please.
I am always nervous because, and I have to say, you know, you don't know the first year that something weird has happened. So have they changed the way that it's being counted? What are they looking at? We've heard in past years about issues about whether you're counted or not in the graduation rate. So I think it's going to take a little while for these numbers to shake out. I'm optimistic, but we'll see.
I mean, I'm not from Missouri, but you got to show me. I don't believe it.
Sure.
30% is still too high. 30% dropout rate is way too high. I mean, what are we doing with those kids that can't even get a diploma in high school in New Mexico? What future do they have in this state? 30% is too high.
About a 7%, Edie, just to put
C
C minus. Is that what we're going to give it?
C
Okay.
minus.
But it's a 7% increase. Let's assume everything's on the up and up.
School on that 70%. Don't get
Shouldn't we be
excited
celebrating that we're doing something correctly here? That's not a bad
But
bump.
we don't know what the metrics are. So I think it's very difficult to celebrate or mourn.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for coming in. Representative Park and Senator Feldman, it's always good when you guys are here. You guys, I see you all the time.
Don't worry about it.
We'll have coverage of the legislature throughout the week on Twitter, Facebook, and on our website, NewMexicoInFocus.org. I'm Gene Grant. We'll see you next week in Focus.